Hello, and welcome back to the Konich-Yeehaw podcast here on the Last Choice Network. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Jared.
And for this episode, we wanted to talk about what's in season.
Right. It is summer of 2022, and shows are about their third episode right now, so we figured it'd be a good time to talk about them.
Talk about what we're watching, at least, and some of what we're not watching. So, speaking of what we're not watching, we wanted to start with the two that we dropped pretty much after watching the first episode.
Yeah, these didn't quite make the cut.
For our taste.
Yeah, I have no doubt that someone's out there, like, gonna be like, oh, these shows are great, you just didn't give them a chance, or something like that. Which, I mean, honestly, both of these shows had a lot of potential, and that's why I chose them to, like, at least try out, because I thought they each had interesting premises. And the first one is, I think, an incredibly unique show that I knew could either go really well or very bad. And unfortunately, it went the latter. And that's Teppen. So what it is that it's a show that revolves around comedy trios. So it's these girls that want to go into comedy acts. So they, like, form groups and all go to this boarding school to learn how to be funny, I guess.
Yeah, and I will say that it's important to note that one thing that kind of made it hard, I would say made it hard for us to get into it, is that, I mean, comedy is very different in Japan. Like...
Well, it's stand-up comedy. That's just how stand-up... I mean, it's...
No. It's still different, though, because you gotta realize that these... First of all, it was trios. Yeah. It's groups of 3, and they're just telling stories. While stand-up does revolve around stories, it's not punchlines in the same way. It's more like they are talking amongst each other, and they say, like, rehearsed jokes, but they're not really to the audience. They're, like, to each other, and then the audience just kind of laughs. It has a different vibe than American stand-up. I'm
trying to remember what it's called. It's like, so there's a type of stand-up or comedy act. I don't know if it's necessarily stand-up, but there's a type of comedy act that has the straight man and the comedian. And so it's that, but somehow with 3 people. And that's why, like, I feel like I don't really... Maybe it is more of a Japanese thing than it is an American thing. Because I don't feel like you really see it. Or at least not really popular. Maybe at, like, comedy clubs or something like that. I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of, like, comedy acts anyway. And so these are things that I've just kind of learned from, secondhand.
Right. And I think, well, another reason why we kind of went away from it is because it does have the setup of an idol anime.
Yes, it
which
does.
We did not know going into it. So the way that idol animes, or most idol animes, I will say, are set up is it follows multiple groups of people. So it's not just like you have... Well, I guess you do have your main group, and it's usually, like, pretty basic, I will say. But, like, in this one, you had the sci-fi alien group, and then you had the like, fighting, like, physical fighting, like, wrestling group. And so, like, you get, like, all these different... And it's just a lot of characters. It's really what it is. And it's kind of hard to keep up with.
Yeah, it was. I was surprised of how many characters they introduced right away.
Right away, yeah.
And I think kind of how they had it set up is that each episode might have, like, focused on a different group. Like, that's just the vibes that I got. We only watched the first episode, and so I have no idea how it goes. But, like, the entire first episode was a retelling of the main group's, like, joke story
they're like comedy story scenario. Yeah.
And so it was interesting. I've never watched a show like that. And so, like I said, it was either going to be really good or really bad. And unfortunately, I didn't like it.
Yes. And, okay, but I have to say, extra, read all about it. the anime did not air their second episode due to quote-unquote various circumstances from the staff. What they did instead was re-air the first episode, and then they moved on from there and aired the third episode.
Interesting.
So the second episode was wiped. Now, according to AnimeNewsNetwork.com, which I'm on right now, they did some diving, right? So this is just me reading. They said that according to, there's like a catch somewhere like on the internet, right? Like of what the story premise is. It's a comedy story, right? Like we're talking like these are all like it's trio comedy stories where one of the characters discovers a tablet, a wish tablet. I guess I don't really know what it says. It's an Emma wish tablet, which I'm sure is, if I visually saw it, I would understand more of what they're talking about. Yeah. But it's a tablet that reads on the back, "I've decided to assassinate the president tonight at 8." And I'm pretty sure that they have decided to cut that episode because of what happened with their prime minister.
Yeah.
And they've decided that is no longer a very
funny
acceptable
joke.
or funny joke anymore. So I just wanted to illuminate that because I definitely noticed. I saw on our because we follow Anime News Network on the Konich-Yeehaw Twitter page, and I remember scrolling through that and seeing just that whenever it was first like breaking, like, oh, they've decided to not air that. I did not know that was the reason why, though. I just now read that.
Okay.
So
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, but anyway, we didn't even continue watching after the first episode. So, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other show is Extreme Hearts. So that was a show that was super hit or miss because it had such a vague like description. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's
so vague we didn't even know it was an idol anime.
Another
one.
Was it? I don't remember actually seeing any idol parts of it though.
They're singing. It's a singing group. Do you not remember what this anime is about?
No, I don't remember it very well.
Okay, then I guess I will take over from here, since you don't seem to remember what it's about. So Extreme Hearts was, first of all, presented as... Oh,
yes, now I remember. Okay, yes,
it's
now I remember. It's
presented as extreme sports. And it's just like, you're like, okay, what extreme sport? Every sport, but extreme. So like soccer, now you can kick harder and faster and run. And rock climbing, like any sport... but extreme.
Yeah, they have like
there's like advanced technology involved.
It's like kind of futuristic.
Yeah.
It's like very modern except for very specific futuristic items like androids.
Yeah, like really realistic looking androids.
Yeah, that like might have emotions.
Very confusing. But back to the premise of what this is though. So there is a young girl and all she wants to do is sing. First of all, sports not even okay. First of all, actually the first thing that happens is she jumps off of like a 5-story building and like lands perfectly and is fine and then runs away, which I was like, is this the same person? I was very confused if this was the same person. And then it cuts to her having a guitar and singing her songs because she really wants to be a singer, and her like record contract or whatever decides to cut her because she's not actually like selling enough records, because she's just kind of like, I mean, a pretty average singer, nothing extraordinary, sorry. So she learns about this extreme sports competition where the winner gets a record contract.
Yeah, I think that's
like sure, and along the way, I mean, so she has one fan, and at the end of the episode that fan joins the sports competition, and then that fan has like not an older sibling, but like an older sibling. Like they're not related, but like that's the relationship that they have, who also is made apparent that she has done this extreme sport competition before and actually knows like has the equipment, knows how to do it, and they join, and then that's the idol group. It's those 3 people, and they're playing sports and singing.
Yes, so like it's super eclectic.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier, there's these. So they have to have like a team of 6 because the first game that they play is soccer.
It's soccer.
And so they just like buy these like 5 other androids to play with the main girl on her team, and then like she's getting beat really bad during the actual like competition, and so then like halfway through, the other 2 main characters join in like during the match.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she still loses though.
She still loses because it's honestly not even halfway. It's like at the end. It's like
Yeah.
maybe the last quarter.
Yeah. And I'm just like, how is this balanced? Like, how is this competition like balanced in a way,
yeah.
like even functional layout? Because like
the other team
solo,
was like was a full team.
Yeah. At
and
least
it was,
I think so.
Yeah, it was like, well, it was 3v3 soccer. So the main girl has 2 androids, and then those at the end are replaced with the other 2 girls. But the other team is like a team.
Yeah,
like
it's like a full
there's
human
3
team.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not androids.
Right. And so it's like Teppan, we only watched the first episode because it wasn't to the point of like, this is so bad I want to watch what happens next. No. It was just like actually kind of bad.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm fine with sports anime. I don't watch a ton of them, and I really like more obscure sports.
Yeah.
And so I thought this was going to be right up my alley because like extreme sports, you know, I figured they do like some
super
crazy
have some
anime stuff.
Powers, yeah.
Yeah. And
which they do, but
yeah,
because of the equipment, I guess.
Yeah, the equipment like makes them stronger.
Yeah, it's like their shoes and their wristbands.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're not killing each other.
Right?
Honestly, with like how fast they can kick these soccer balls and stuff.
Yeah, how hard they can kick them.
Yeah.
Like, there's a scene where like one of the girls kicks a soccer ball and it like makes a dent in concrete, like a concrete wall. And it's like, how are you not killing each other? But now about things that were bad, let's talk about some things that are good.
Yes, some things that we are enjoying this season.
I'd say probably the number one thing that I'm enjoying this season, kind of surprisingly, is the new Tokyo Mew Mew remake. So Tokyo Mew Mew is an old, I don't know how old it is.
I don't know how old the original one is, but it's a remake.
Yeah, it's a remake, which I feel like they've actually been kind of doing remakes of like older girl anime.
It was first released in the year 2000.
2000, okay. So. Yeah. Which, and so it's magical girl, animal maids.
Yes.
Like all into one. I had never heard, well, I had no idea what the concept of Tokyo Mew Mew was before. And so I didn't know that it was all like environmental.
Yes.
Which
I also didn't know anything about Tokyo Mew Mew except for how excited people were whenever the remake was like happening, and they're like, you don't understand, guys, I grew up on this, which, you know, like like now makes sense, right? Like this is like in the same era as like Sailor Moon and Pokemon, like whenever it was all those animes really big, especially with like younger people, right? Because this is very much, I would say, can be targeted to a younger audience. Like, not, this is an anime that so far I can say younger kids could watch.
Yeah, I mean it's marketable material.
It's marketable, yeah. But yeah, so it's, the premise is, well, we've only kind of just met the villains. Or the villain, maybe.
One of the villains.
One of the villains. We've only kind of just met the villains. Right now, it was still just introduction of characters. Right. So every episode is like we got to see a new character. So, I mean, I guess the main character, right? She's a cat. She's a cat girl. So
specifically, though, how they chose her to be a magical girl is that she shared like 98% DNA with this endangered cat species.
Yes.
And then like merged them together.
And that's how all of the girls are. So they all have the DNA of some endangered species. And then they are merged. So the main girl is a cat girl. And her whole thing is that she wants to like have her high school fantasy of like falling in love, and I mean super like basic teenage stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So she decides that she wants to. She's like sees the popular guy and is like, that's him. That's the one I want to fall in love with. And they go out on a date, and she learns that he is like really into like animal conservation or like environment conservation, and like really likes animals. And she's like, yeah, I can get into that too.
Right, because she's like, I have no idea any of this, but he does. So
he does. And
I gotta go along with it.
And like, I mean, she's like into it, you know. She's like, I didn't know there were that many endangered species. We gotta do something.
Something that people have pointed out,
the saddest
is so whenever it first aired, so it says how many endangered species there are in the show, and there's like significantly more.
I want to say that in the original 2000 one, it was 15,000 endangered species in the world, and now it's like over 200,000. Mm-hmm. And they do make that change in the anime. It's pretty jarring. But yeah, so she gets hit with a laser beam.
Yeah.
To become a cat girl. And then there's these two guys who are the ones shooting the laser beams. I don't really get what and they own a maid cafe. Yeah. And now they have a job. I'm sorry if you don't want this job, but now you have a job and you work as a maid in this cafe. And you have to find the other girls. It all happens so fast. It's all very fantasy magical girl.
It is. It's very, let's put every genre together. Like, these are things that people like. Let's put it all together and like just see what we can do with it. I have to point this out. One of the characters' names is Lettuce. Like, whenever they first called her Lettuce, I thought that they were making a joke. I thought they were making fun of her because
like
she has
her, she's green.
She has green hair.
Yeah.
But no, her name is literally just Lettuce.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I mean, what else would you name a green character?
Yeah. I guess it's just one of those, like, oh, English words are cool.
Yeah, so I mean it's fun though, and we still got one more character to add also. So I mean, we're kind of still in like the introduction phase. Like I said, we just met the villain, so basically there's like evil animals, or there's somebody who's making the animals evil, and they fight them with their magical world powers to make them not evil anymore, and that's like the premise of the show.
The next show is the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. I wasn't sure. I had a pretty good feeling this show was going to be pretty cute, and it like got a lot more emotional quicker than I thought it was going to.
You know what? Honestly, same, because so Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, right? Main character. Sorry, I forgot his name. He's like really big tough guy.
Yeah. Second in command to like his Yakuza group. Yeah,
second in command. He's like really violent. Like they introduce him as like a very violent, very impulsive character, and it gets their group in trouble because he's so violent and impulsive. So the boss has a daughter who is maybe like 7.
I think she's 7.
Yeah, so little girl, and he's like, you're in charge of her. And the whole point is that hopefully it like softens him, right? Or at least softens him a little bit, right? Yeah. Or makes him maybe
it gives him something to be in charge of.
To be in charge of, to be responsible for, to think outside of himself, right? And it is surprising how instantly like okay and good he is at caring for her.
Yeah.
Like he's really good at caring for her. Not like in some sort of like bumbling, I've never met a child before way. But like, and even like she points this out, like he's really gentle. Yeah. He's very gentle with her.
Like it's very opposite of what his personality was first introduced as.
Yes. Like but right away. Yeah. Like it wasn't a character development kind of thing. They try to like hint at character development whenever they go to do some mob thing and he doesn't kill somebody. Yeah. But like I don't know, like like I said, it isn't, you would think that this story would be like, oh, I'm learning how to care for a child, but he seems very natural at it.
Yeah, like he immediately becomes like father figure. Like I
And
think
she's like, this man is my family now.
yeah,
Yeah, like instantly, like
like
my uncle, I guess.
One of the first things, I think it's in the first episode, she has like a like parent teacher night at her school, but her dad is big Yakuza guy, so he can't come.
Go. Yeah, and then
so,
their mom is in the hospital. That's the other part, but.
And so like he goes instead. Like he wasn't going to originally, but then he like found a paper for it.
Yeah, she tried to hide it.
Yeah.
So and then he went because he thought it'd be important, but like he didn't even really need that much like encouragement to go. Really. You know?
There's another character that's like kind of her mother figure.
Her aunt.
Yeah,
it's her aunt. Yeah.
And so I think if I remember correctly, she like nudged him to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice. It's good.
It's cute. Yeah, I really like it. I'm really enjoying it and excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, I don't really know where they're gonna go with it.
Yeah, since they have a cat now.
Yeah, they have a cat now. So
it looks like she's gonna from the intro. All taking this from like just the intro. It seems like she's gonna start making friends. Looks like there's other like little children characters that are gonna be introduced. And she's probably going to want to start hanging out with them. And I don't know. But, like, we'll see. It's nice.
Right. Yeah. The next is when will Ayuma?
Can you read your hand?
Ayamu. No.
Can you read your hand? Right.
No, I know what it is. I just want to have Ayumu.
Yes.
Yeah, when will Ayuma... They, like, don't say...
They don't say... Well, that's his first name.
That's his first name, yeah. They like, use his last name. Anyway. When will Ayumu make his move?
Yeah.
Every single season, I will find the cute high school romance anime, and I will watch it immediately.
Yes.
Because I love that.
It's very good stuff.
And so last season it was Komi.
Komi and Aharon.
And Aharon, yeah.
Yeah.
I love this. This is my crack. I love it. I live on it. And so the concept for this one is that there's a high school. She's a second year, and she has a shogi club, an unofficial shogi club.
Shogi is kind of like chess, kind of.
If you don't know what shogi is, it's like Japanese chess.
Yeah.
And so her underclassman, he was a big like kendo star,
sportsy guy.
Yeah, in
middle school.
Middle school, yeah, in middle school. But he, instead of doing kendo in high school, he joined the shogi club because he's in love with his senior.
Yeah, with the girl the second year.
Yes, and so it's so great because like she's kind of like a stereotypical character of like, oh, you know,
she's nerdy.
Yeah,
I would say she's like a pretty stereotypical nerdy type. Like she's not athletic at all. She's clumsy.
Yeah. Gets flustered.
Flusters really easily.
But the guy, it is so fun to watch because he is so straightforward.
He's very straightforward. He's very like stone-faced and straightforward about his feelings even.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like surprising.
It is such a good change of pace. Like, because typically how these high school anime go is that they're like, oh, do I have feelings for you?
And then it's like who has feelings for who first, and then one of them is struggling with it while the other one is like oblivious.
Yeah, and then episode 12 they like say that there's going to be a big reveal, like lead up to it, and then there's not. But this, like, straight out of the gate, like he like says something. He's like, you look cute.
Yeah, he like stares at her and he's like, you have really pretty eyes.
Yeah.
like just he's very straightforward with his compliments and with his affection or with his feelings, really. Yeah. Like how it feels to like, even like I said, just look with her, to be around her. He's just always like, I'm so happy to be spending time with you. Like he's very enthusiastic.
Right.
Well, he's enthusiastic, but in a very straight-faced
I'd say
way.
enthusiastic was a good word, because
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I don't mean like he's like, oh my gosh, like I'm head over heels, I'm blushing. Like he doesn't do that.
But I mean, there are some scenes where, like, for example, on the third episode, he asked her out on a date.
Yes.
And when she goes yes, he like fist bumps like
yeah,
yes.
no, yeah, he does this thing where he just kind of like he puts his fist up and he's like yes, but he doesn't say anything. He like barely even makes a noise, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it's just like a little gesture that the audience sees as him being like he's happy, you know.
But yeah, so the whole thing is that he like compliments her and like flirts with her a lot, but he won't confess his feelings until he beats her at shogi.
Yeah, and I mean she's a pro.
Yeah.
And he's still learning, so maybe he'll beat her.
Right. The episode 12.
Right. But yeah, and the other thing is that obviously like the way that she is like receiving these feelings is she's kind of, well, first of all, it's so obvious, right? I mean, hello, third episode, he's like, can I go on a date with you? Like, he's not hiding anything.
Yeah.
But obviously he won't confess, right? So what all of the attention that is given by him to her, she is flustered about.
Right.
She does get like doesn't know how to respond to things sometimes, but her best like course of action is she tries to just make him flustered back. Mm-hmm. It's almost like she's just trying. It's like teasing, right? Like she feels like he is teasing her, so she's gonna try and tease back, but it never works, and then she just ends up getting more flustered, and that's kind of their dynamic.
Yeah, it's cute.
It's very
really
cute. It's very
I love
cute.
It.
Yeah. I'm rooting for them.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited to see where it goes, since they've been so like pretty quick with all of these.
It's progressing.
Things.
It's moving steadily.
Progressing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
For like high school anime standards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just excited for them to like, I don't know, maybe they'll pull an Aharin and like kiss or
actually
something.
Kiss at the end.
Yeah. And then making its comeback is Devil is a Part-Timer Season 2.
Yes, it's been a while, guys.
It's been a while. I think it was...
Wasn't it like 7 years?
Yeah, I think it's been like
Something
7
like
years. Devil is a Part-Timer was one of the earlier shows that I watched. Mm-hmm. And it is one of those, like... If you're new to anime, watch this. Definitely. Because it's really good.
It is really good. I know it's something that I recommended really early to my sister. Mm-hmm. And I've seen it. I've seen the first season twice because like it's just it's fun, you know. Mm-hmm. Like it's fun, it's funny. The premise is that Satan himself there's like a war. There's a war in the Satan land, and he's like escaping. He's escaping, yeah. Right? That's what it is. So he opens a portal to go somewhere. He ends up on Earth. He loses his powers. He's on Earth with like his second in command, or his like right hand man, essentially.
Lieutenant.
Right. His lieutenant. And the comedy of it is it's otherworldly. It's like I call it the reverse isekai. Yeah. Because it's otherworldly beings struggling with the woes of capitalism on Earth. Like their biggest concern is paying rent right now. Like he's a devil. He works part-time at McDonald's, and
because you can't say the copyright name.
Can't say the copyright name. It's McDonald's. He works in fast food, and his biggest concern is paying his rent and putting food on the table. And honestly, like I think I remember there were definitely episodes in the first season where like all the devil stuff is kind of like sidestepped.
Oh yeah, it's totally sidestepped.
Because it's just, like he looks like a kid, like he looks like a teenager. So it's just like a teenager working fast food, mm-hmm. and that's the comedy.
Yeah, there's also like new characters are introduced, like the hero that like. From the other world comes in, and they have a dynamic, and
because she wants to kill him, but she is also experiencing the woes of capitalism.
But like better.
But like better.
Like she has a better job.
She has a better job. She's like in like
customer support.
Customer support. She's in customer support, so she gets paid a little bit more. But she is still doing the whole like, I mean, you know, it's still customer support is still working class here.
Yeah. She's just getting paid more, so she has like a nicer place to live.
Yeah.
And
nicer clothes and things. Yeah.
So one thing about like this is that it's been a long time since I watched it, and so I was like kind of hesitant to want to watch it because it's been so long that like my interest has kind of dropped.
It's almost like I can imagine that this is wonderful to watch back to back.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But since it has been 7 years, definitely in the first episode they do a pretty decent job in trying to reintroduce the premise and reintroduce the characters because they know it's been a while.
They like make a point to say every character's name and like
their role.
Yeah.
And because there are definitely some characters where they introduced and I was like, oh yeah, forgot. But in this season, it seems that the conflict is going to be revolving around a child.
Yes.
So a child appears in the first episode and thinks that Satan is her papa and that the hero is the mama. And of course they're like very confused about that. Although I will say that Satan never actually said where demons came. It was like kind of brought up because he was going to say like, oh, we don't grow on... He made a joke. He was like, oh, we don't grow on trees.
But
then the baby like literally comes in the form of an apple and
possibly grown from a tree.
Yeah, it's it was just kind of like a comedic moment. I think it was more comedic than anything to be like, oh, we don't grow on trees, and then now there's a baby who's calling me dad.
Yeah,
that came from an apple. But it looks like they're...
I mean, I'm enjoying it.
I'm enjoying it. I'm interested to see where it goes. I think we're kind of starting to get more of the conflict happening.
Yeah.
Now on the third episode.
Now it's capitalism with a baby.
Yeah. Now you have a baby, and it's like calling you dad, and they brought it to work, and now it looks weird.
Yeah. And then a show that I'm watching, she's not, but I am, is the new season of Made in Abyss. It's like right at the point that I stopped reading, and so I like kind of knew what was going to happen, but Made in Abyss, I might have to make you watch it. It is such a unique experience because it is so original in its ideas. So concept is, so there's this giant hole, this giant abyss in the earth, and there are people that go down in it, but there's all mystical things about the hole. Like, for example, if you go too deep, you can't go back up because there's a curse that you can't go up in the abyss, or you'll be like
explode or something.
Essentially, yeah. And so, but the concept is that the main character, she's a little girl, and her mom was this great explorer who went to the very bottom, and she didn't come back for reasons that I said, but now the main character is trying to get to the bottom to see her, and so she meets other characters along the way. It is a very cute looking show. It is incredibly deceiving because of that. It is one of the nastiest, most disturbing shows I've probably watched. There are parts that are like tough. There are some tough moments in the show, and like you wouldn't think that looking at the image, and like that's the whole point, to make like the contrast, but it is so powerful, and it is so good because of that. But yeah, so this is technically the 5th installment. I'd say it's technically season 2 because so there's season 1, then there are 2 recap movies, and then there's a 3rd movie that was like completely new, and then this takes place after the 3rd movie.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like season 3-ish.
Small, yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
But yeah, it's really good. They're on like the 6th layer of the abyss, and each layer has its own rules that they have to abide by, and so it's pretty interesting. It's also having this weird, like, maybe people that came before them story that's happening, and it goes back and forth. But yeah, it's pretty good. I like Made in Abyss. Nice. And we were talking about this earlier, that like this season is a pretty big season, but not for me.
Yeah, not for us.
Yeah. So like, I mean, obviously we have Devil is a Part-Timer season 2.
That's a big deal just because it's been so long.
Yeah. And I mean,
people
it's
liked
pretty,
it. People
it's
really
a pretty,
liked it. Yeah,
popular. And then the Tokyo Mew Mew new is also pretty
big
popular.
deal. Yeah.
But like, shows that I'm not watching: Overlord season 4, Rent a Girlfriend season 2, High School of the Elite season 2. Is it wrong to try to pick up girls in Dungeon season 4? These are shows that are like,
they have a lot of popularity.
Yeah, like I watched High School of the Elite season 1, but it's been a while. It was like, came out in like 2017, and so I have a hard time watching season 2 of shows after it's been a long time.
Yeah, and that's
since
why
I watched them.
Yeah, and that's why it's kind of weird to watch Devil's a Part-Timer.
Yeah.
Another part of that though is, I mean, for me, is that I watched it dubbed. I watched it in English.
Yeah, I did too.
And the English, I mean, the English is good. You know, that it's just different.
Yeah, watching it sub now.
Watching it sub, yeah.
Right. But yeah, so like all of these are like big things. I also watched Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? I know I at least watched the first season of it. It's super popular. Same with Overlord. And like, I don't know. There's sometimes there are shows that even though the first season is really good, I just can't get into the second season. I don't know what it is.
No, I mean, I was kind of like that with Comey, honestly.
Yeah, with Comey?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I have such a love for Comey because I'm up to pretty much up to date
because you're reading
it,
so you know what's
yeah, and so I know it's good, and I know that you just have to push through season 2 so you can get to season 3. Other things that are coming out later in the season,
like in a month or so.
Yeah, I think both of them are coming out next month. Is JoJo Part 6 is coming back. Thank the Lord.
Yes, we're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready for all of the bizarreness.
And I'm ready to try and remember what's been happening.
Right. They might have like a recap episode, or probably not,
recap
honestly.
Intro, maybe,
yeah.
At least.
And then Tekken Bloodlines.
Okay, so I'm a huge Tekken fan. Like the game. I've been playing the games for a long time. I'm very much into the Tekken lore. And I know that Tekken content outside of the games is very questionable. I've been burned. I have been. So when I heard there was a Tekken anime, I mean, I was excited because it's an anime. And I'm like, okay, maybe, you know? And like, I feel like enough people know the joke now, especially since Tekken was in Smash. I feel like more people understand kind of the humor and the ridiculousness more of like the whole like, it's 2 generations of families throwing each other in a volcano. Like, yeah. I don't know, there's humor in that, I think. But so I watched the trailer whenever it was first revealed, and I remember being like, this doesn't look like Tekken at all.
Yeah, it's kind of bad.
It's kind of bad. So from what I remember, it follows Jin, right, which is the youngest member of the Mishima family. So Jin is Kazuya's son, and Kazuya is Heihachi's son. So there's like, this is the family, right? You can kind of think of them as like Yakuza-esque, I guess. They run Zaibatsus, which I tried looking into what a Zaibatsu is, and it's just like a legal mafia. Like it's a corporation. I don't know. Like, I don't really understand what they do, but that's the Mishima Zaibatsu. And Jin, you know, the lore, it can get wild. Basically, they all, ever since they were all thrown into these volcanoes. Heihachi threw Kazuya into a volcano, and then Kazuya threw Jin into a volcano, right? Like, it's been happening for a while. They all have the devil gene, which is just like, they have devil powers. It's the best way to describe it. They can grow wings, they look evil, they get big muscles, they look like demons. And I think that's kind of what this is trying to follow, is like, isn't it?
So I think it's the story of the fourth game. So it's literally like King of Fighters tournament.
King of the Iron Fist.
Or King of the Iron Fist tournament. Like Jin going through the tournament, fighting people, fighting Ogre at the end, fighting Heihachi at the end.
Okay. I forgot this. I'm just talking about Tekken now. I love talking about Tekken.
Yeah.
But, so King of the Iron Fist tournament is the tournament in game lore that the Mishima Zaibatsu runs. And, I mean, they're just fighting. They gather fighters from around the world, and they fight for, like, the grand prize of being the King of the Iron Fist. And they always have to fight Heihachi at the end. It sucks.
And I think that's everything that's in season this year. Or this season.
Yeah, this season. That we're watching and not watching and hoping for. And dreading. So thank you guys so much for tuning in on this for this episode. Seeing this is the Konich-Yeehaw podcast here on the Last Words Network. And I'm Natalie.
And I'm Jared.
And thank you guys so much for listening. Yeehaw.